awful graffiti on a school, on a Jewish school. I mean, children should be able to go to school without seeing this sort of stuff, shouldn't they?
Everyone has a right to practice their religion in safety, without fear. I myself went to a Jewish school. It is terrifying to think of school children, being scared going back to school. I think that that's really scary. And, one thing in this moment that I have seen, in addition to the fear and really genuine fear amongst the Jewish community, we've also been receiving so many messages of support from other groups, from other racialised communities that we work with, from Muslim communities, from First Nations communities that we have strong ties with. We released a statement last week with two peak Muslim bodies calling out this recent spate of anti-Semitic incidents, saying that hate and racism have no place in this country, and really asking our leaders to focus on these incidents and not politicising them for their own benefit.
I mean, all of this is horrendous, but there must be sort of a different mindset when you go from graffiti to potential explosives, with a blast radius of 40 metres or whatever it was. What do you need to see, do you think, from government, from media outlets generally across Australia right now?
I think right now, and the thing that has, given me some slimmer of hope is that the government seems to have committed a lot of resources towards investigating what is happening here. They've really investigated resources into that, and I think that is the most important thing. At the moment, we don't know, and there's a lot of contradictory information about who is behind these incidents, whether there is foreign involvement, whether these incidents are connected. They all seem so similar. So I think in this moment, we need to see, and what I would like to see as our politicians taking these incidents really seriously and just not using these incidents for political game playing and fueling division, as I think we've seen in the past few weeks.
I'm wondering about, obviously this is a community, your community has experienced a lot of transgenerational trauma. I'm wondering about elder members of the community right now seeing incidents like this, particularly on a week where we've seen the commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz. How are they doing right now? I think
that's exactly the question. People are really, really scared in this moment. People are asking whether they can go to synagogues, to Jewish day schools. And, for elders in our community who may be Holocaust survivors or the descendants of Holocaust survivors, there is an added level of trauma there, seeing these incidents play out, absolutely. As there is for all racialised communities when we see these sort of intensifications of incidents of racism and hatred.
Are people shying away at all from going to big places, big gathering places at the moment, do you think?
It's hard for me to answer that question, to speak for, I frequently say this, I don't speak for the Jewish community. No one can really speak for the Jewish community. I think that there are a lot of people who are scared in this moment and maybe making decisions in line with that. But I have also seen, big shows of strength from within the Jewish community, within other groups coming together and being very proud that these incidents do not reflect our broader community and the broader, communities across different groups that we are connected with.
You, on another topic, you recently took part in a QT symposium, which was part of an anti-racism dialogue, a presentation that you gave. Parts of it have been criticised by some members of the Jewish community, particularly in reference to some of the imagery that was used in your presentation. Do you reflect on that criticism, and do you sometimes think maybe I should have made that point in a different way? How are you reflecting on that now, Sarah?
Yeah, so I gave a speech at an anti-racism conference, and my speech was about how Peter Dutton and the coalition and far-right actors around the world are exploiting the Jewish community and the rise in anti-Semitism to fuel division and hatred towards other racialised groups. And I think that this incident speaks exactly to why that message is so important. Already we have seen Peter Dutton, point fingers at Anthony Albanese, suggest security measures when we have absolutely no knowledge about the ideological motives of what is happening here. So I think the Murdoch press and the coalition have a very big incentive to exploit, what I said in my speech. But the fact that they have chosen this week, rather than actually addressing a rise in anti-Semitism, to go after me for making a point that they are using the Jewish community as political footballs, I think speaks volumes to the way that these people treat Jews and anti-Semitism. And, they really have not shown shown that they have an interest in actually addressing these really real rises in anti-Semitism, and they are confecting outrage, and that is making Jewish people more scared. And they need to get real and actually stop using our community as political footballs. I've received so much support from within the Jewish community who say, yeah, we are really sick of politicians exploiting our identities in this moment.
If you had your time again, would you do it differently though?
If I had my time again, I would have said that no one should be filming, half a sentence of a speech and taking it out of context. I think that that is exactly what has happened here. And I will not stop speaking about how Peter Dutton and the Coalition are misusing and exploiting the rise in anti-Semitism, because I think that that is something that is fueling division and racism and anti-Semitism towards Jewish people. And, he has a very big incentive to misinterpret what I say, and the Murdoch press does as well, because I don't think that they are actually committed to addressing racism. And this is the point. We are within an extremely real rise in anti-Semitic incidents, and that needs to be the focus here. Our leaders need to focus on investigating why these incidents are occurring. They can't be pointing fingers, which the Coalition has been doing, pointing fingers at the Palestine Solidarity Movement, pointing fingers at other racialised groups, where there's no evidence that there is any connection between these incidents and that protest movement, and that is really dangerous for the Coalition to be pointing those fingers and stoking that division in this moment. So I think that that's an important message that we all need to hear.
All right, Sarah, thanks very much for your time on the couch this morning.